Mon, Cafe Maspero, Jack's Brewery, Cafe Beignet, all kinds of different things to do with Stop 1. Jackson Square is right there. On the left right now, guys, that statue. That statue right there is the guy that founded New Orleans. His name is Enville. There's also an effigy of a Native American statue. The reason for that is because, I mean, we all know that there's that Europeans discover anything here, right? I mean, there was thousands of years. You got several Choctaw tribes, you got the Natchez Indians, the Biloxi Indians, the Homa Indians, all kinds of different Indian tribes. Now, some of those tribes are still here today, like the Homa Indians are one of the recognized tribes here in Louisiana. But for the most part, though, they pretty much wiped them out. Alright, so on your left is Cafe Maspero, one of my personal favorite restaurants right there. And we got Landry Seafood right here by Stop 1, and this is going to be Stop 1, guys. As soon as we come to a complete stop, anybody that wants to exit for Stop 1, this will be you. Alright, Stop 1, guys. Please hold up a second, wait till we come to a complete stop. Thank you. Alright, now we... Alright, guys, on the left right now is Jackson Square. This is where all the action happens. Now, in the back there is St. Louis Cathedral. Now, they built that cathedral in 1718. It was the very first thing they built. Now, it wasn't big in a cathedral back then. It was a small church. But it was burned down 3 times in its history. Each time it burned down, they built something bigger. On the left is Brown Buildings right here. That's the downtown apartment complex. On the left right now is Cuisine Restaurant. Cuisine is the only restaurant that I know of on the Mardi Gras. It's also the second oldest restaurant in the world. Now next to that is the hot sauce bar. That's right, a hot sauce bar. A place where you can go, you can sit down and take samples with the hot sauce. Don't that sound fun? That's kind of thing we do here in Louisiana. Here in Louisiana, we put hot sauce on just about everything. Personally, I like crystal hot sauce, but if you like a real spicy hot sauce, you'll be a fast food person. I'm not a fast food person. On the left right now is St. Joe the Bar. Bar, that statue is the now we're going to come up with stuff. Stop two. You might want to stop two in the first market. Going once, twice. Alright, stop three right here. And in the first quarter, right here. Stop three. Take it to stop three. Go over. Twice. Anybody? Alright. Go. Stop three. Next stop we're going to come up to right here is going to be stop 4 for Treme. Treme is the oldest African American neighborhood in the U.S. Does anybody need stop 4, by the way? Anybody need stop 4 for Treme? Or once, going twice. Music all the way up until she passed away in the 1970s. She was also a fierce civil rights activist. So everything on this side and up the park over here is about a 2.1 acre area. This area over here is called Pop-Up Square. They call it Congo Square because that's where all the African slaves were allowed to congregate on Sunday after Mass. Their own religion if they wanted to. And they could do that right under the Archdiocese's nose if the Archdiocese was cool with it, as long as they went to Mass on Sunday morning and observed on the moon. We appreciate a little appreciation in our appreciation jar. Now we get to stop by right here, guys. What's going to happen is that this break is this bus is going to take a short break. So we're going to stop at stop 5, and me and Bright are going to hop on the bus. Now, if you want to continue on the tour, I think this bus over here might be about to take off. I'm going to check on that for y'all. But downstairs, though, so this bus is here their entire life. So damn near undefeated at chess. Never won a single court case. Paul Morphy, also buried here in St. Louis, #1. If you want to get in that 7th area, we offer a walking tour of it the Basic Street Station. Now on the right, this area over here, when this first went up, this is called Storyville. And Storyville was America's very first red light district. Y'all know what I mean when I say red light district, right? But count yourselves lucky. For the first 3 weeks after that incident, we were taking a mile-long detour. As it is today, we're taking about a 4 or 5 block detour. So no big deal, we're going to be turning left on. We all from over here. Connecticut, alright, I've been there as well. I'm gonna ask everybody eventually, but before we get there, if y'all look to the left, you guys can see the voodoo bar. Y'all see the voodoo bar on the left? That building, when it first went up, was the first building in the country specifically built to be a movie house. They called it the Dictascope Movie House about 100 years ago, named for an early version of film projector. Alright, we are now on Canal Street, which is the uptown corner of the French Quarter. If you're coming from the right, you're leaving the Central Business District as you cross the street to enter the French Quarter. If you look directly in front of us, you'll see a street sign that says Baronne. On the right it says Baronne, on the left it says Chalfine. When you cross Canal Street, the street names change. Doesn't change in every district, but when you leave any district and you enter the French Quarter, the street names are going to change. The reason why I mention this, up on the very next block, on the left, you're going to see a street sign. That street sign will say, Bourbon. You have a question? I know a lot, I don't know everything. I know enough to wait. Alright, now, Bourbon Street, the most famous corner in the city of New Orleans, the corner of Bourbon Canal. Most people that enter the French Quarter for the first time do enter at this corner, or as I call it, the corridor. And at most nights, around 7 o'clock at night, a brass band will set up right at that corner, and they will play that classic jazz music that New Orleans is famous for. Most people that visit our city want to see the French Quarter. Most people that visit also want to see Bourbon. Getting all the way down to the area that I call Dirty Bourbon. That's where all the gentlemen you would be hard pressed to find a gentleman there. Now, it is kind of ironic that I promote Redfish Grill 4 times a day, every day. Why is it ironic? Well, I'm pretty sure I'm the only person in the world that's ever been fired from that restaurant twice. Y'all, I am a little bit clumsy. I know you're supposed to eat the gumbo and not wear the gumbo, but my head and my hands don't always work together as a team. Luckily for all of you, I don't have any gumbo on the bus today. Now, if y'all look to the left, you're going to see Palace Cafe. I mentioned Redfish Grill is owned by Ralph Brennan. Palace Cafe is owned by his brother, Dickie Brennan. They are part of the world-renowned family of restaurateurs. The Brennans have restaurants all over the city, including the original Brennan's restaurant, which is on Royal Street, 1 block behind us and 5 blocks in. If you're familiar with the Banana Foster's dessert, that is where the Banana Foster was invented, the original Brennan's restaurant. So I'm going to make yet another dinner recommendation for all of you. About 1.5 blocks up on the left, you're going to see a pink building that says the Creole House. Another great spot, local cuisine, great food, great service. A little bit better price point than some of your French Quarter restaurants. Right today, there's ice cream. I promise you enjoy it. We're now going to be at stop 6. Anybody upstairs hopping off for stop 6? Anybody upstairs? Once or twice. Nobody upstairs, somebody's got it downstairs. Anybody downstairs? No? Alright, we do have people, no problem. This gets kind of crowded upstairs. Welcome aboard, ladies. Welcome aboard. Have a seat wherever you like. There is room upstairs. There's a limited room upstairs, but there's definitely enough for the 3 of you. If y'all talking about yourselves, please do it on volume that allows anybody listening to hear. Now again, on the left, you'll see the Creole House. Past the Creole House, you're going to see a big gray building. On the top 2 floors of that gray building is our U.S. Customs House. But on the bottom floor of that building is the Audubon Insectarium. Now, I realize that most people probably are not super excited at the prospect of spending the afternoon with bugs. But they do have at least one exhibit there that I do recommend. They call it the Butterfly Garden. Is having a casino take up an entire city block here in New Orleans. That ironic thing is gambling's against the law in the state of Louisiana. That's right. So let me break it down. If y'all go to any other Harrison casino in the entire world and you sit down and you say you play blackjack, for example, you will be here. But if you go to this Harrison casino and you sit down and you play blackjack, you will be gaming. Big difference. Oh wait, no, there is no difference whatsoever. In fact, both those words are practically spelled the same exact way. The irony gets even bigger. There's something like 1,600 different bars in this city, and almost every single one of those bars have got electronic poker machines in them. So while gambling is against the law in the state of Louisiana, you can go into almost any building in this city and game all your money away if you so desire. I'm not saying you should do that, I'm just saying you could do that. Now, let's just stop right now at Poetry Street. We're turning on to Poetry Street, main thoroughfare in an area that we call the Central Business District, but it wasn't always called the Central Business District. Originally, it was known as the American Sector. That means it's time for a history lesson. Yay! Okay, so the year is 1803. You got a guy in the White House. His name is Tommy Jefferson. Like that. Tommy Jefferson. They call that deal the Louisiana Purchase. And still to this day, that is the biggest land deal in human history. That is 828,000 square miles for 15 million bucks. That averages out to be about 3.5 cents per acre, plus $7 for the skyscraper. The tallest building in this city is 51 stories tall. If you've been to any other major city in the entire world, you have probably seen buildings taller than 51 stories. Does anybody here know why we don't have any buildings taller than 51 stories? Sing why? The land. We are built on a swamp. You gotta go 250 feet down just to hit bedrock. You cannot create a foundation strong enough to go any taller. If y'all look to the right, this building right here, the Hancock Whitney Center, 51 stories tall, the tallest building in the state of Louisiana, did not go up until 1972. Is anybody here, show of hands, who's hopping off at stop 8? Nobody upstairs, nobody touched down. Alright, so if everybody looks to the right again, this building coming up on the right, regular Roman architecture in front of it, the statues and the pillars. This is the pavilion, or Le Pavilion. It is a very high-end, very fancy-schmancy hotel. It is also one of the top 10 most haunted buildings in the city. And so, if anybody here is going to be staying at the pavilion while you're here in New Orleans, you may see a ghost, but not to worry. All the ghosts here in New Orleans are very friendly. All they ever want to do is drink. That's why we call them spirits. Waka waka waka. We got jokes. I'm sorry. That joke is Walk-On Sports Bar. Walk-On is known by far and away the best quarterback played in NFL today. Mr. Breeze. No bias here whatsoever. Now, right past Walk-Ons, you will see, and again, I do ask if y'all are talking amongst yourselves, so please do it out of volume. Allows anybody listening to the presentation here.
Right past Raucous, you guys can see the Little Gem Saloon. That is one of the oldest jazz clubs in the country. It's been there over 100 years. When we get through this intersection, I'm going to ask you, this is the Superdome. Now, originally it was the Louisiana Superdome, but of course in 2005, Hurricane Katrina hit. We had about 50,000 people living in this building for a week before they could be evacuated. So, that caused a little damage to the building, and the state, the following season, flew out of San Antonio. During that time, Mercedes-Benz came to town. They fixed it up, they bought the rights to it. It is now the Mercedes-Benz show. Now, back in 1981, a little band came to town. You might have heard of that. They call themselves the Rolling Stones. They shattered the attendance record at the Superdome at over 87,000 people. Now, apparently back in 1981, nobody cared about safety laws and regulations because not everybody in the dome that night had a seat. They were standing in the aisles, they were naked from the rafters, at the room. My friends, you guys can go ahead and hop on. For those of you that are hopping on, thank you so much for joining us today. Enjoy the presentation. And yeah, if you want to get to the World War II Museum, we're going to be going through a traffic circle or a roundabout. I am going to assume that everybody here on this bus knows what a traffic circle or a roundabout is, correct? Great. Alright, so we are heading toward the National World War II Museum. Does anybody here know why the National World War II Museum is here in New Orleans? Does anybody know? Nobody knows. Alright, I will tell you because it is my job to tell you. The land ticket we're about to turn onto Andrew Lincoln's Drive. As I said, he built this boat. All 23,000 of those boats were built here in New Orleans. So they took what was originally a D-Day museum and they converted it into what is now the National World War II Museum. I'll tell you more about that museum in a moment, but first, if y'all look to the left, this big red brick building, the Ogden Museum of Art. If you like art museums, I highly recommend this one. I've been to art museums myself all over the world. This is one of my favorites. Now, on the other side of the art museum is the Civil War Museum. It is the oldest Civil War museum in the country. It was introduced in the year 1891. The museum was so old, it belongs to the museum. Alright, now I mentioned the Higgins boat with a landing craft. Everybody look to the left. Once we pass this parking lot on the left, you will see the landing craft hanging up in the window. The Higgins boat here was not made out of metal. It was made out of mahogany and then painted into a pure metal. They also packed 36 soldiers, each with 60 pounds of gear, each on their back, onto each one of those little boats. And that was not comfortable, but I assume that war is seldom comfortable. Now, this museum, according to Griffiths on the left, this is a balcony attached only at the building. The whole rest of this block is galleries, but specifically, the corner building on the left, on this block, this big orange building, the picture-perfect example of what a gallery should look like. You see that? We leased to about 25 people up there, just supported by those columns. Scroll down, those are the difference between a balcony and a gallery, which makes you one step closer to becoming all your wildest dreams finally realized. Now we're going to go underneath these trees. We call these live oak trees. They're called live oak because they only lose their leaves when new leaves push the old ones out. They provide a lot of shade for us here in New Orleans, as I'm sure you guys have guessed, we need as much shade as we can get. Now if everybody looks to the right, you see this White House on the right? As we pass it, look up the side of that house like you're looking for their chimney, and you will see my favorite gargoyle in town. It's my favorite because it looks like he just ripped Medusa's head clean off her shoulders, so none of us have to be turned to stone like him. Alright, now, if you look to the right, this big brick building, this is St. Vincent's. When St. Vincent's first went up all over 100 years ago, it wasn't an infant asylum. No, that is not where we keep crazy babies. An infant asylum is what they used to call an orphanage. Now, in the year 1853, there was a massive yellow fever epidemic in the city. Almost 10,000 people in the city died, including, unfortunately, some of those orphans. Now, to fast forward about a century or so, we're calling it St. Vincent's Guest House. I've lot of friends stay in that guest house over the years, and they all swear that the food here is horrible. Very popular style house here in New Orleans. I live in a shotgun style house myself. But of course, I had one condition to get into a shotgun style house, and that condition was I live by myself, no roommates, right? Because if you live in a shotgun with a roommate, y'all have to walk to each other's bedrooms to get to either the bathroom or to exit the building. And I cannot tell you how many different reasons I have for not wanting somebody to just walk through my bedroom. And that is the house that Jay-Z and Beyonce bought. And I will tell you more about that in a moment, but first everybody look to the left. You will see at the corner the world famous Elms Mansion. This is why they call it the Garden District. This neighborhood first went up, every block looked like this. One big mansion on the corner, and the whole rest of the block was their garden. That's why they call it the Garden District. Now, let me go back to the streetcars. They are antiques. We call them moving museums. You can ride them and it's fun, but only on St. Charles. Every other streetcar line in the city has some much newer red and yellow cars. We call them the Red Ladies. The Red Ladies have something really cool on them. That really cool thing is called air conditioning. That's right. Now, let me also go back to Jay-Z and Beyonce's house. Y'all saw the outside of that house. The outside is considered to be